John, you're the CIO of GroupM, the world's largest advertising media company with 17,000 staff, 400 offices, 81 countries. You know, obviously in your industry, digital is having a kind of huge impact. I'm just intrigued, what role does the CIO and the IT department play in kind of realizing the potential of digital?
Well, you know, it's a real interesting change for us. You know, in the digital world, I think, you know, I like to say in the traditional world, we had a seat at the adult table, but in the digital world, we've kind of moved into the middle of the adult table, right? So because we understand a lot about the processes and the way that things work, the business themselves, who are educating them on how digital marketing plays a role, the role that we can play in helping educate them so that they understand is a big role for us. So I found we're playing an education role, you know, first. The second kind of role that we're playing is to really try to go after understanding what do the systems landscape look like in this particular arena. You know, everybody talks about big data and the management of that information, but ultimately how that information will apply, okay, in the digital world, how it ultimately we will derive insights from that and how we can action those insights are the kinds of tools and systems that we now as IT professionals in this space are you know, forced with and charged with trying to either develop or partner with companies who do this. I would say in addition to that, the one real challenge we've got is, you know, 20% of the world is digital for us, and 80% of the world is still this analog, and TV plays still a big role in our world. So how do you derive the insights that you get from the digital world and apply them in the analog world and almost tie those two worlds together in the short term is probably the biggest priority for us right now. So we're always looking forward, but we've also got to manage the majority of our business right now. So integrating those systems and using data across those systems in order to inform other media types that aren't necessarily digital is a key thing for us.
John, I'm interested just looking at your background. You manage a pretty large asset base across multiple countries, multiple brands. I'm just wondering about how you get the balance right between setting the strategy at the center within GroupM and then influencing other operating units, and also getting that balance between that and allowing operating units to kind of innovate and run their own strategy.
Well, you know, what we did inside of GroupM is we essentially broke things into two categories of systems, okay? And there are systems that fall into the standardization category, and there are systems that fall into the differentiation category. And what we ultimately try to do is we try to push as much as we can into standardization so that we do have one across the brands. But there's plenty of systems that exist in the differentiation space, right? And what we do there is we draw a very succinct line in where the center plays a role, mostly back office aggregate, talking about infrastructure, platforms, and things like that, and then allow for that real customization on the top layers of that for the businesses so that they can skin it and make that look and feel the way that they want it to. So for us, it's about, in that differentiation space, drawing that line in the appropriate place, communicating so everybody knows what their role and responsibility is, and then not getting upset in the differentiation space either. When things go in different directions, you got to let that go. So, so I think because we do allow some of that, when we do want to standardize, we generally get people who are okay with following suit. So it is a challenge. The other thing I would say is, if you're going to do it, you start at the base level of the stack. Don't try to start in your applications. Go to your infrastructure, consolidate that first, particularly the commodity things. You move on to platforms next, and you slowly begin to centralize those things as opposed to trying to do things up and down the stack in pieces. Great. So that's the other way I think we've managed to be successful at that.
John, thank you very much.
Pleasure.